Let's talk about the anatomy of the perfect cold email. Who am I? I'm the cold email king. We've sent millions of cold emails. We've generated tens of millions of dollars in revenue, hundreds of millions of dollars in leads for our clients. I run many a SaaS startup from LeadShark and Tablio all the way to our agency for lead generation, X27. And in today's video, I want to show you the anatomy of the perfect cold email. Stick around. But before we jump in, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I see that most of you aren't subscribed, so I'd love to flip that on its head and get most of you to be subscribed. Smash that like button for more cold email content, and let's jump into it. Let's go through an anatomy lesson. This is the perfect $1 million cold email framework sponsored by LeadShark. Why not? All cold emails have these parts. First is the subject line. This is typically something like quick question, or if you want a list of 77 different subject lines that we used, go on over to email10k.com/subject and you can check that out. So after the subject line comes the custom complement, also known as the first line. The reason I call it now the complement is because these that we're about to write are called the 3 C's. Complement, case study, call to actions. And finally, you have the email signature. So a good cold email has this structure, S, C, 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 S. Subject, complement, case study, call to action, signature. Beautiful. Now, let's boil this down and make this as simple as possible so that you can write your own cold email campaigns and you don't need any course, you don't need anything else. Let me show this to you right now. You start with a compliment. And what you're basically saying is, I know you, I love what you do, you're the best, and you phrase that in a certain way. So what I like to do in this compliment is I'll say, hi, Mark, or hi, name, huge fan of Acme Inc., love the work you did on Marvel Ultimate. Make it make sense, right? So you want a custom compliment that shows that you know their business and you're a fan of their business and you know the guy you're reaching out to and you're not just some random person. This could be a compliment like this. It could also be something like, hey Mark, my girlfriend mentioned XYZ company the other day and I felt like I needed to reach out. It could also be like, hey Mark, my CTO kept asking if we were gonna work with XYZ company and so I figured you might like this. Some kind of compliment that shows that they're not just another person on your list. Cold emails work best when they're one person writing to another person, not one person blasting a message out to 10,000 people. This isn't Facebook ads. We're not going one to many. We're going one to one. Even if this message does end up sent to 10,000 people, each one will see it as one to one. So we start with the compliment. Then the case study is showing that you've done the work in the past. So recently I generated X in Y for a niche company. Something like, recently I generated 400 leads in 30 days for a roofing company. If you're selling to roofing companies, that is. The niche company means it should be a case study that is as close as possible to the person receiving the email. Recently, I generated 2.5x ROAS in under 2 weeks for another apparel company. Something like that to get their attention. Now we move into the call to action, which is, and I'd love to do the same for you. Mind if I send over a few times for a call? Then the signature, thanks, Alex. And that's the body of the cold email. And then the email signature itself, we actually did a whole video dedicated to email signatures, but it's first name, last name, then your job title. So you could say your CEO, X27, your address, because in a lot of countries, the address is actually needed in the cold email. So this gets it out of the way very simply. Then a contact phone number, maybe an office phone number if you're one of those people that has 2 different phones, and possibly your LinkedIn. If you don't have an optimized LinkedIn profile, you could just skip that. And so with that being said, you have the anatomy of the perfect cold email campaign. It's SCCCS. Subject line, compliment, case study, call to action, signature. And if you incorporate all of those, then you'll have a solid cold email. Notice what's not in here, and that is everything else. It's impossible to follow the 3 C's and the 2 S's and still end up with an email that is 5 paragraphs long. It's impossible. Each one of these should have 1 sentence, maybe 2. And so your email that you're left with after writing via this framework will be small enough that you can read it on an iPhone screen without having to scroll. And those are the best cold emails for busy people. So go out there, use this perfect $1 million cold email framework brought to you by LeadShark. Go out there and write your emails. And then if you want leads for those emails to send the campaigns to, head on over to leadshark.com and claim your 25 free leads. Thanks for watching the video. Be sure to smash that like button to encourage this type of content on YouTube. Subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching. I'm Alex Berman.